After these last two chapters of Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, I can safely say that Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest is back to being the best ongoing shonen. Yes, Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest is officially back to being greatness. I am loving this series once again. I know, a lot of you guys must be thinking, yo, underrated man, what happened? Why'd you just do a complete 180? Because we saw those videos of you bashing Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest chapter 177 and Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest chapter 178. They were both amazing. They were both perfect 10 out of 10s. And honestly, these chapters alone, they definitely did reignite my hype for this series. And I'm definitely excited to see how this arc is going to play out. Because, yo, this arc of Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, it can easily go down as the best arc in the whole entire Fairy Tail series. Because Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest chapter 177, that chapter was perfect. Man, I wish I would have covered that when it came out, but I definitely do feel like that chapter, it felt like the OG Fairy Tail with its amazing plot twist that we used to get back in the original Fairy Tail series, because the plot twist of IGNIA'S son being revealed was just a perfect 10 out of 10. Yes, round of applause to Hiro Mashima Atsuo Uda, because that plot twist right there, it sparked up my hype for Fairy Tail again. And that plot twist was seriously on the same level as Laxus being Makarov's grandson, the Dragon Slayers being 400 years old, or the dragons living inside the Dragon Slayer. Like, yes, this plot twist of IGNIA'S son being revealed, it gave off those type of vibes. And that's what Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest was missing the most in my personal opinion. Fairy Tail was never a series that was great just because of its fights. To be honest, the fights in Fairy Tail were the only thing that was holding the series back from being a perfect 10 out of 10, with the way how Hiro Mashima usually ended them way too quickly. In Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, it was basically just straight up fighting over and over and over without going deep into certain plot points like developing certain characters in their relationships or expanding upon hype points that were introduced early on in the series, like the other children of Selene, the Moon Dragon God, or the relationship between Dogromag and Ignia. But now it looks like that's all changing with these latest chapters of Fairy Tail, because with the introduction of IGNIA'S son Wed, this just changes the whole ball game for Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, and it opens up a whole new angle that Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest can go down with all its brand new plot points that it's opened up, like who is Ignia's baby mom? Yes, Ignia is shown to not really care for humans at all, but now we know that he actually did have a child with a human. Yes, Ignia of all people got busy with the human, so this just makes the plot 100 times better than what it used to be, because yo, who is this chick that Ignia deemed worthy enough to have his seed? And is she still alive? What type of powers does she have? There are tons of questions that Hiro Mashima needs to answer ASAP now that he has revealed that Ignia does have a human baby mother. But yo, Ignia's son, his name is one of the dumbest things I heard. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. His name's pretty stupid, but in a hilarious way. You mean to tell me that this guy's name is Wed because it's an acronym for Warm Earth Dragon? Like, come on, everything about this man was a perfect 10 out of 10. His backstory, his character design, his powers. The only thing that's holding him back from being a perfect character is his silly name. Like, yo, why couldn't he keep the lineage from his grandfather Ignia and his father Ignia's name, with the tradition going on of having the IG? And why couldn't his name be like Igneous or Ignoramus? I don't know, man. Something better than Wed, aka Warm Earth Dragon. Like, that name is just completely trash. Anything other than that silly name would have been better. But I understand that it was a pun. Hiro Mashima did this as a joke, so I'm not even really hating on it too much. All I'm saying is that for a character as epic as this, they could have gave my boy a different name. But we see that Wed is as strong as Urza, so this is super hype, because yo, Urza, she's looking like that she might be even stronger than Natsu. So finding an opponent for her, it will start to be super hard, because we can't just have Urza fighting some random blackies all the time. That's not interesting. And obviously, we can't have Urza defeating the main antagonist, but now she's fighting somebody who is super hype and is pivotal to the story and not just some no-name lackey. So yo, this is getting me super excited to see how this fight is going to turn out versus Wed, because yo, now that we know that IGNIA'S son is going to be fighting Urza, we know that this is just going to end in some normal good guy beat the villain type of time. No. Wed might end up scarring her permanently, or she might end up convincing Wed to join them. I don't know, but I'm super interested to see how they're going to handle Wed's character, because we saw that he had a struggle between wanting to be a dragon and he didn't really like his human side, but I think the only reason why he really liked his dragon side is because he was around IGNIA all the time. But now that he's going to be around some strong humans, maybe that might make him be able to accept his human side, and maybe he might end up joining the Fairy Tail Guild later on down the line. But Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest chapter 177, it was super hype because we got revealed to the leader of the Fire and Flame group, aka Beastia. And yo, she's looking even hyper than Wed low-key, because we see that she goes out and she tries to fight Ferris the Black Mage one-on-one. So yo, you already know that Beastia is going to be packing some crazy abilities, and I'm going to touch up on that later on down in the video once I do discuss Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest chapter 178. But the hypest part about Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest chapter 177 wasn't even all of that. It was when IGNIA literally began to sense somebody else's presence, and then he left the battlefield and he straight up ignored Natsu while he was leaving the battlefield. So yo, whoever this person is that IGNIA is sensing, they must be super important to make him leave the fight against Ferris the Black Mage, who has Acnologia's power. And we know that IGNIA, he's always wanted to test himself up against Acnologia, so he left her. That's a big deal in of itself. But then he ended up ignoring Natsu as well, the same person who he begged for Doggermag to keep alive just so that he can see the new world. We know that IGNIA, he wants to show Natsu his new world more than anything else. So the fact that IGNIA just pulled these two stunts just because he sent somebody else's presence, this definitely means that the person who IGNIA sent, they have to be super hype. I don't know who it is, but man, oh man, this person, they have to be somebody that's super important. What if it's Doggermag that's been revived? Or what if it's even IGNIA's baby moms? Like, yo, this chapter, it was just so perfect. 10 out of 10, 100 out of 10. I loved it. And honestly, this chapter alone, it got me super hyped for Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, because the last couple of arcs, they were disappointing for me. But man, oh man, this arc, it definitely did bring the hype for Fairy Tail back, and I'm super excited to see how this arc and how the rest of Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest is going to play out. And now we move on to Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest chapter 178, and man, this chapter also makes the plot thicken even more, because yo, we find out that Beastia's flames, they are so special that if Natsu eats him, then he'll be able to awaken a brand new power that will allow him to surpass IGNIA. So yo, another round of applause for Hiro Mashima and Uda, because they are really cooking when it's coming to this Fire and Flame group. First, we got introduced to Wed, aka IGNIA'S son, who is a part of the group, and he's one of the leaders. And now we got Beastia, the leader, the head honcho of the group, who is so important that her new fire could lead to Natsu awakening a brand new form. And yo, let's be honest, what other power could be awakened other than Natsu's E&D power? Like, yo, if Natsu is able to regain his E&D power and take full control of them and then use them to his fullest, then this would be super hype, and it would be super perfect writing, because yo, IGNIA, he literally wants to fight up against the Black Mage Ferris just so that he can see how his powers match up against Acnologia, since she does have his arm, and there's no better way for IGNIA to see how he matches up against Acnologia than fighting up against END, someone who Zeref said had potential to even destroy Acnologia. So if we get a Natsu full power END form versus IGNIA, then Hiro Mashima, you will finally be forgiven for botching the final fight between Natsu and Acnologia, and he will be able to make one of the best fights in all of fiction if we do get this dream battle of END Natsu full power versus IGNIA. And I think that Beastia has some sort of darkness flames because she uses her teleportation magic to transport her and Ferris the Black Mage away from everybody else. And Beastia, she said that she doesn't want to release great darkness in the real world. So this is what makes me think that that great darkness, it is some sort of dark flame, that it might be like Amaterasu from Naruto, from where we know that once the Amaterasu is used, its power can never be put out. So if Natsu eats a flame like that, it would give him a permanent power boost, and that dark power, it might just be enough to awaken his E&D form, which was considered a dark power in of itself. And we see that all the fights are all still going on, like Urza versus Wed, Zero versus Midnight, and the Eurasian Saiyans versus the Black Mage's underling. But yo, Hiro Mashima, don't rush through any of these fights, because all these fights are looking pretty great so far, and I would hate to see them all end predictably and not get any screen time that they do deserve to get. So I know I'm asking for a tall task here, but I hope that Hiro Mashima, Atsuo Uda actually do flesh out all these fights and don't have them ending in a disappointing manner. And I know a lot of you guys might be tired of me bringing up Dogger Mag and IGNIA'S relationship and how I think that Hiro Mashima dropped the ball by not fleshing that out more, but even Mercphobia himself brings up their relationship in this chapter. So this just goes to show you that I was right, and that IGNIA Dogger Mag's brotherhood, it is super important. And Hiro Mashima, he now has a chance to make that backstory as hype as Gojo and Geto's backstory from Jujutsu Kaisen, if he just shows us how IGNIA and Dogger Mag became best friends, if he does end up bringing back Dogger Mag. And Mercphobia might just be the MVP of this whole series. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, because yo, not only did he pop off and have one of the greatest arcs when he was first introduced, but he also gives Lucy a key so she can now summon Mercphobia whenever she wants. So yo, Lucy, she might just become the strongest character in the series. Like, this is crazy. Her power gap, it just jumped up super high out of nowhere. We now see that Lucy, she's able to summon a dragon god to her side whenever she wants. So round of applause to Hiro Mashima, Atsuo Uda again, because they just keep on dropping banger chapters. And all these banger chapters have amazing plot points that come back to back to back. So I'm definitely super excited to see how Lucy will use her new ability that Mercphobia has given her, and who she's going to be the first person who she's going to summon Mercphobia up against. But possibly the most underrated but best part about this chapter is that Gray is finally getting his time to shine, because he's going to be fighting up against Vernice, the Gold Dragon God, all alone. I know some guys might be thinking, yo, there's no way that Gray stands a chance. This fight's going to end up in some bullcrap manner. But no, I'm here to tell you that this fight, it has potential to be amazing, because yo, we saw how strong Silver was when he literally was able to one-shot Natsu back during the Tartaros arc, and Gray literally has the same magic power as Silver. So if we get to see how Gray uses his devil slaying magic in order to take down a dragon god, I think that would be super hype, and it will be very similar to when Silver was able to defeat E and D with ease. So I'm all for Gray getting his solo fight to take down a dragon god. Bring it on. I think that if this fight is handled correctly, it could go down as one of the best moments in the whole entire Fairy Tail series. And we finally get revealed to Vernice's human form, and man, oh man, his design is so epic. So I guess I'll give him some cool points. I will give Vernice some respect. Even though he did have one of the worst arcs in the series, I think it's time to put a little bit of respect on Vernice's name. And I definitely do think that now is the time for Vernice to get some redemption points, because if he puts up a great fight versus Gray, that I definitely do think that he will live up to his title as a dragon god. But overall, these last two chapters of Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest are what I've been asking for from Hiro Mashima and Atsuo Uda for a while. An arc that doesn't feel rushed and actually have amazing plot twists within them that make them feel like the original Fairy Tail series once again. And Hiro Mashima and Atsuo Uda, they have delivered on that. So I hope that this arc is at least 100 chapters so we can get all these new plot points fully developed. And if Hiro Mashima doesn't decide to rush through this arc, this could go down as one of the best arcs in all of Fairy Tail, even including the original series. Comment what you guys see down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace out.